Hey my loves, welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for clicking in. If this is your first time here, you are welcome. Please do not forget to click on your subscribe button. Your subscribe button is just below this video. Please subscribe to my channel. After subscribing, I'm also going to beg you to click on your bell notification. Your bell notification is just beside the subscribe button and you'll be able to see it after you might have subscribed. Thank you so much to all my amazing subscribers. You guys are the best. God bless you.
I've never been exposed like this before.
With the happenings around the world right now, this is the right time that Africans should reunite. Honestly, Africans need to reunite in every aspect, because it's getting too much, it's getting worse. Like every country is just waking up and realizing that Africans are not supposed to stay in our country. Africans are destroying our countries and a lot of things. So if like Africans are in unity, I think a lot of things will be much easier. And so today's video, the president of Ghana, John Mahama, have some speeches that he made concerning the unity of Africa and the strengthening of relationship between one African countries and another. What do you think? Do you think Africans are better apart than when they are together? Let me hear your thoughts in the comment section. But before then, I will allow you to watch the video. Do not forget to subscribe and drop your comments in the comment section.
Without peace, there can be no development. The AU must strengthen its capacity to prevent, mediate, and resolve conflicts. This includes adequately resourcing the African Standby Force and leveraging partnerships to address emergency threats such as terrorism, cybercrime, and climate-induced displacements. Indeed, this is very important for us, especially in West Africa, considering the challenge we face from terrorism. Africa's future lies in its youth. Over 60% of our population is under the age of 25, and yet their voices are largely absent in policy making. We must institutionalize frameworks that empower our young people and our women to lead at all levels of governance.
Ghana's President John Mahama has ordered the recall of service and diplomatic passports issued during the era of former President Nana Akufo-Addo, who recently left office after serving 2 4-year terms. A service passport is issued to government officials who travel abroad on official business, while a diplomatic passport is issued to government dignitaries, diplomats, and other special groups, including their dependents. President Mahama's office says the decision to recall service and diplomatic passports issued during Akufo-Addo's tenure aligns with the new government's pledge of proper use and administration of official travel documents. A statement by the president's executive secretary, Callistus Mahama, says the recall of diplomatic passports aims to prevent misuse, safeguard the country's reputation, and maintain the integrity of our diplomatic engagements. President Mahama's special aide, Joyce Bawa Moghtari, recently said that though Callistus Mahama shares a surname with the president, the two are not relatives. President Mahama has directed the ministry in charge of immigration to notify all holders of service and diplomatic passports which were issued during President Akufo-Addo's tenure to return them to the ministry for fresh issuance. Akufo-Addo was Ghana's president from 2017 to 2025. Ghana's new government says all the holders of the service and diplomatic passports must comply by January 24, 2025. The relevant ministry has been directed to review all the returned passports to ensure they align with the current eligibility criteria for issuance. President Mahama's administration says the exercise is aimed at maintaining the credibility and efficiency of Ghana's passport system. But what are the benefits of a diplomatic passport? First, let me state that different passports classifications don't have equal privileges. A diplomatic passport is special compared with the ordinary and service passport, which is also known as official passports. Many citizens use the ordinary or normal passport for their trips abroad. The diplomatic passport is often issued to diplomats, high-ranking government officials such as the President, Vice President, Prime Minister, Chief Justice, Speaker of Parliament, and Cabinet Ministers. Their spouses and children also qualify for diplomatic passports. After the high-ranking government officials leave office, they retain their diplomatic passports in most cases. The benefits of a diplomatic passport include using separate channels in airports for faster processing, minimal inspection, quicker boarding, and visa fees may be reduced or eliminated. A diplomatic passport holder is also exempted from any tax that may result from traveling either on land or air. The holder also enjoys diplomatic immunity. This means they are protected against lawsuit or prosecution while in a foreign country.
The latest news coming from Ghana right away. Guys, the newly elected president of Ghana, John Mahama, sent shock waves warning to United States, to Western leaders, ready to end U.S. military base in Ghana and also work with Ibrahim Traoré, the Burkina Faso president, Assimi Goïta, Mali president, Abu Dhabi Tiani, Niger president, to liberate Ghana, West Africa and Africa at large.
And so we know what is happening in Burkina Faso. Indeed, we should be working closer with our comrades in Burkina Faso. Unfortunately, this government has created some tension between us and Burkina Faso because our president went and opened his mouth too wide. You saw the video. He went and was doing concern about your neighbor. We all are here. We are suffering. America called you small, and you are so excited, and then your neighbor, you are doing concern about him. And so it has created some diplomatic tension. He went there, went and apologized, but still, it's not the best. So when government changes, we have to go and talk to our neighbors because we must work together. So I think that we must improve our relationship with Burkina Faso. At the same time, we must also strengthen our, surveillance and security so that in case it comes into our borders, we are able to deal with it. And that is also the reason why we must solve the Boko crisis as quickly as possible.
Today, Russian mercenaries are on our northern border. Burkina Faso has now entered into an arrangement to go along with Mali in employing the Wagner forces there. I believe a mine in southern Burkina has been allocated to them as a form of payment for their services. Prime Minister of Burkina Faso in the last 10 days has been in Moscow. And to have them operating on our northern border is particularly distressing for us in Ghana. Apart from not accepting the idea of great powers once again making Africa their theater of operation, we have a particular position that you know about over the Ukraine war, where we have been very, very vocal and upfront about condemning the invasion of Russia by Russia, and therefore then now to have this group at our borders is a matter of some considerable disquiet and concern for us. We would really like to have a privileged opportunity to talk about its implications and what we believe ought to be the case. This is what took place with the discussion in the Congress yesterday.
Guys, you can see that wind of change is blowing here in Africa. John Mahama and Ibrahim Traoré, they are good friends. Ibrahim Traoré have already sent congratulations message to John Mahama.
For an African to visit a European nation, an ordinary African, to visit a European nation is like, let me give you an example my teacher used to use. It's like trying to milk an elephant because of the visa process. However, for a European to visit an African nation, most of our nations, it is like a walk on the beach. It's like going to have a cup of tea. But then that is not the problem. The tragedy is that now for an African to visit a fellow African within the African Union, the visa restrictions in many of our nations, among us, between our brothers and sisters, is like trying to brush the teeth of a crocodile. They came, divided us, and they have taught us to keep each other from each other. Them, they're mingling with each other and making money and growing, but they have taught us to hate each other.
So, Mr. Secretary, thank you very much. Today, Russian mercenaries are on our northern border. Burkina Faso has now entered into an arrangement to go along with Mali in employing the Wagner forces there. Prime Minister of Burkina Faso in the last 10 days has been in Moscow. And to have them operating on our northern border is particularly distressing for us in Ghana. We really like to have a privileged opportunity to talk about its implications, to what extent can have you as a partner in confronting these threats. And therefore it's important that we bring that matter to your notice and see to what extent we can engage you as a reliable partner in the push.
And you can also see how popular Mr. President is in Ghana. When he was introduced at the Black Star Square, he got the biggest applause. Thank you, my brother. Thank you very much. Yeah.
Will the new president of Ghana be able to remind the West that he is a strong leader and not a puppet? John Mahama's triumph isn't just about Ghana. It has to do with something far more important. Be skeptical if you believe that Africa will simply let the West make all the decisions. The change in Ghana under Mahama's leadership is akin to a huge earthquake that marks the end of a period in which Western interests take precedence over African concerns. Ghana's foreign policy is not the only issue at hand. It's about Africa taking a seat at the international table and rejecting decades of exploitation. However, what is Mahama doing that is different? Let's investigate. Mahama won a fight for Ghana's soul, not just a presidential election. This has to do with financial autonomy. For far too long, foreign interests have drained Ghana dry. Foreign control, foreign businesses, and foreign loans. However, Mahama, he's had enough. He has a plan, and it involves defying Western directives. Let's dissect it. One of Africa's most economically reliant countries, Ghana depends on the West for loans, development support, and foreign aid. However, that structure has only served to maintain Ghana's debt and dependency cycle. Mahama is changing the course of events. He is discussing true self-sufficiency. It's not only about supporting a malfunctioning system or keeping the lights on. The goal is to establish a sustainable economy that is run by and for Ghanaians. John Mahama, Ghana's new president, reportedly said, and I quote, "In order to reset our country and put it back on track as the Black Star of Africa, we will be implementing significant governance reforms and occasionally taking drastic steps over the course of the next 4 years. My dear brothers and sisters, the trip will not be easy because our beloved country has fallen into an abyss due to the outgoing regime. But we're committed to collaborating with you to create the Ghana we desire. And I have no doubt that we will prevail in the conflict. We plan to collaborate in order to rebuild the damaged trust in our political and governmental structures. The goal is to create a nation that can support itself without assistance from outside sources. Ghana cannot prosper if it keeps turning to the West for answers. Mahama is aware of this. He has a vision for indigenous solutions that promote local industry, eliminate middlemen, and give Ghanaian companies the upper hand. His goals are to increase agricultural production, upgrade infrastructure, and make investments in technology and education. He isn't only doing it for Ghana. Other African countries can learn from Mahama's leadership style. It's time to start taking action at home and to cease pleading with the West for assistance. However, what steps does Mahama plan to take to avoid making the same mistake of depending too much on Western investment? How does Ghana progress in the absence of outside influence? The solution is straightforward: unity. Building an empire is more important than focusing on a single nation. Ghana is at the forefront of this movement. Ghana is not fighting this battle by itself. The country has been fighting alongside other African nations that have similar goals for decades. Africa as a whole, free from foreign domination. Mahama has a clear vision. Africa must no longer rely entirely on the West. Countries from Burkina Faso to Mali are uniting in their opposition to neo-imperialism.
I went to a place in Amsterdam. I was staying in a hotel. And a Nigerian lady came and said, "I hear you are Archbishop Duncan Williams from Ghana." I said, "Yes." He said, "Pray for your people." I said, "Why?" He said, "2 Ghanaian ladies fought here. And one of them went and reported to the authorities that all the Ghanaians who work there don't have papers. So the authorities came and ransacked everybody, husbands and wives. They left their home with their children, dropped them at school, went to work and didn't come back home. They arrested everybody, deported them to Ghana. And the lady that went and reported was given a stay. I mean, how can you sleep?"
You see what I always say? Bibini bianfi and the Tamfuni Bibini. Africans always think their enemies are their fellow Africans. I'm telling you. And I saw some people in the comment section saying that why is the man of God preaching against legality? Why don't the people go through the proper means to get the documents and all of that? In a way, you people are right. But in this case, the person did it out of anger. It's not like he's concerned for the betterment of the country.
You get it?
And then second of all, the person in question is also part of the immigrants. So technically, he sold out his people for a stay in the country.
You don't know.
And you know what's even sad? The owner of the place will also face the law.
Look at my face.
So what do you think will happen if another Ghanaian comes there looking for a job?
I feel it right.